Alrighty, guys. Let's get started on this lovely, lovely evening. Probably be a pretty short stream today. Maybe not. We'll see. I've got a size 4 and we're starting off this fly with a nice tail. All this is 50-pound mono. You could also use fluorocarbon. Frankly, you could use wire, or you could even just use a shank. But this mono is pretty sweet. It's a little challenging to tie on at first, but once you get the hang of it, it tends to be pretty simple. I'm going to bring this out just a little bit more. I don't love the length of this guy, but yeah, mono is tends to be pretty easy to work with, so that's why I tend to like it. And there we have it. So we've got our nice tail there. You don't need it to be too long. This is more of like a pike, big trout kind of fly than a musky fly. So we've got a nice tail out the back there. And you don't need to secure these guys down too much because in general, there's no actual weight bearing. The only real problems you'll have with these is literally just having issues with, pike and things biting them off with their sharp teeth, but, they don't actually bear any weight. So now I'm going to blend some bucktail together. So I'm going to start off with some orange bucktail, and I'm going to go for like a fire tiger-like look. So we've got about a third orange. I'm going to blend in about a third yellow, and then I'll go ahead and blend in about a third white just to start this off. That'll make a fun little fire tiger look. And then we will put some maybe, chartreuse or something as we get a little higher in this fly. Add a little white in there too. And this first one is just gonna be a straight tie. We're not gonna do a reverse tie quite yet. I'll show how to, or I'll do that in just a minute. So there we go. We've got our 3 colors now. And I'm just going to roll them around. And then I'm going to grab my hair stacker and throw these into a hair stacker. And what we're doing with this hair stacker is we're not aligning the tips of these. Instead, we're going to align the butt ends, and that'll just allow for easier tying, especially when we start doing our reverse ties, which we're not doing yet. We're just doing a straight tie, but especially when we're doing reverse ties, it really just helps these guys tie in a lot better, So actually, I don't love how these are blended, so I might give them one more tap. But as you can see, we got a nice little blend of our 3 colors. And then as we get a little further on, we'll add some chartreuse probably, and that'll probably be about it. We might add some black or something fun too, but we want to kind of maintain that nice fire tiger look. Okay, there we go. We've got our blend in place. So now I'm going to grab my fibers and give them in a little straight tie. And if you guys are wondering, this is a 50-pound mono for our like tail. You can use, a lot of stuff, but I'm using 50-pound mono, and that just makes you get a really nice extension. Thank you. Yeah, the blending bucktails is super fun. And then the little mono extension is something I've been playing around with recently. I saw a video on it. I thought it was pretty cool, so I'm incorporating that into my flies a little bit more. So yeah, we've got a size, I forgot to mention, we have a size 4 fire hole all-purpose streamer hook. This is a 7/18, I believe. Great all-around hook. So we've got that nice little straight tie in place. We got that nice little tail underneath. And now we're going to start our reverse tying session. So start off with some more yellow here. I'll grab a nice little pinch of that. Probably about a third of our total clump. We'll do yellow. Cut that off. And then from there, we'll do a little bit of white. I'm not going to go super white heavy, but I always like to at least incorporate a little bit of white into my flies, just because I think it kind of just helps add a little bit extra flash. It just makes it look more natural. You know, no, there's basically no fish that don't have at least a little bit of white in there somewhere. And then I'll do some orange as well. I won't add any chartreuse yet. I may in a minute, but for now, go in with some orange. That chartreuse looks a little better at the head too. I don't know, I have a fly around here somewhere that looks similar to this, but it's a more of a musky style fly than like a pike, smallmouth, trout streamer. And again, this is on a size 4, so it is a very versatile size. It can be used for basically anything, you know, pike, trout, bass, you know, all sorts of different species. Goodness. Yeah, so I just blended these around by just kind of rolling them, and that makes a really nice looking blend. You can also just grab like a dubbing brush and just kind of roll them around on here and then fold them over, and that tends to work really well too. Really whatever you prefer. I prefer just kind of doing it with my hands a little bit more, and from there I'll just kind of fluff out those butt ends. You don't need to get like all of them out. Like they do kind of, I feel like they kind of like add character to the fly if you have some of that kind of fuzz going on, but scraping out a little bit, especially in this stage, is better. And then I'll just stack these butt ends, and that'll just allow us to reverse tie these in a lot more cleanly. You know, if you just stack in these loose ends, especially when you've been mixing them up, like they're just gonna go everywhere. Thank you, Clouser. And now I'm just gonna tie these right on top. We got a few that aren't gonna make it, but that'll be fine. And this is some pretty weak thread, so I can't go too tight, unfortunately, but. And I don't really want to spin these actually that much, because I want to keep these mostly on top, because if I spin these around and have a bunch of material on the bottom, the fly will keel really weird, and it'll actually ride, instead of riding upwards, it'll ride down here, or it'll ride on its side or something really dumb. So you want to make sure to add a lot more material on the top. And then I usually just go in with white, basically every fly that I tie, this style, kind of blended bucktail. How's it going? Basically every fly that I tie in this style, I tie cool color on top, and then I tie white on the bottom, and that's just, ooh, there's a lot of underfur in this. And that just helps kind of maintain both a real baitfish look, and also it helps me like kind of differentiate between the big thick part on top and that, you know, less amount of material on the bottom, and that, you know, obviously lets that fly keel. And then I'm gonna just work my way forward, and that's gonna allow an even place for me to push all the material back in the exact same place. If I do it like, if I kind of do it all willy-nilly, then my final fold won't look very good. So doing it this way allows you to really make a good looking fly. Do the fish care? Oh shoot, I gotta get Zap-A-Gap on this. Do the fish really care? Probably not, but it's more so for, you know, aesthetics and for just how I like my flies. My my Zap-A-Gap had a little issue here. I'm still dealing with. I need to get some more. I need to get to a fly shop and get some more Zap-A-Gap. But for now, we're using an old weird. I had the Zap-A-Gap dried up in my nozzle, and I had to cut it off like all the way down. It was really a shame. But yeah, I'll apply some. That was pretty thick, but that'll be fine. Apply some, and this is mostly for toothy fish, especially if you're making like a bigger musky fly like this. You really want to make sure to be Zap-A-Gapping everything, because they'll, you know, things will tear it to shreds. Even a bowfin will tear a musky fly to shreds. So you got to make sure that or if it doesn't have any, you know, Zap-A-Gap on it. Even pike, this is a pike fly, or even trout can do that. You know, there's a lot of species that will tear these things up, especially when they get into the, you know, pretty big territory. So you want to make sure to be securing that down good. And now I'm going to bring this back, and I'm really going to fold on these. I really want to make sure that they're really well creased, because if they're not well creased, they won't lay very well. So I'll show you guys. Normally I do a hollow or a bullet tie on the first one, and then I continue with hollow ties all the way down. So I'll show you guys how to do a bullet tie right away. So how I do it is to make sure this is really well creased. It's a very important part. Kind of make it almost a triangular shape. Again, kind of helps keel that fly a little bit better. And then I'll just kind of give it an initial wrap, work my way back, and sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge. But yeah, then you just give it just a few wraps, and then I'll bring it down, and I'll add just a hair of Zap-A-Gap on this. And that looks pretty good. And from there, I am going to add some hackle. Sometimes I don't add hackle, but usually right after my first tie, I do like to add just a little something just to make this fly a little bit more unique. And today, I'm going to go with the old classic, well, maybe I'll go with brown hackle this time. I think brown hackle would look cool on this fly. So I'm going to use, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going, Donovan? I've got a bronze dry fly hackle here. And I'm just gonna pick a couple feathers. Want really shiny ones. This is a bronze cape, but actually my slightly less nice one, the pro grade, is actually a lot nicer. These ones are kind of, I don't know. I think they're actually dyed. They're not natural, so they don't look as good. How's it going? So I'll probably do 2 feathers on this guy. One rule I always have, you always got to tie in on the feather first, and then after giving that a couple wraps, you can move down and wrap on that quill or the stem, because otherwise your feather just rolls everywhere and it looks horrible. And I'll pick one more feather out. Again, I want nice shiny ones. I don't want weird dyed like gray ones. Most of these are actually pretty gray, unfortunately, but it's all good. It's very nice laying hackle. Like it ties very nicely, but it's just colors mostly are a little annoying sometimes. Compared to the, and this is probably actually pretty reminiscent of pro grade or bronze grade, but that pro grade hackle other cape that I use is just so much nicer that it's no comparison. And I'll just lay those 2 on top, and that's all I'll do for hackle for now. I don't want to go too crazy on hackle, especially because we are bullet tying this. And now we'll do, I think I'll do 2 more layers. So for this one, we're gonna go in with quite a fair bit of our orange. Cut that off, quite a bit of our orange. And then I'll go in with just a tad of yellow again. You don't need too much, but just enough to give it a little flair. Then I'll go in with some chartreuse this time. All my chartreuse, I've got a few of them floating around, and they all are just been, I've just tied like a bunch of clousers, chartreuse clousers lately, because I have a lot of luck on chartreuse clousers. They are so good. And I've used up my supply of chartreuse, which I guess shows you that chartreuse is good. And it also shows you that blending bucktail is goated, because you really can stretch all these bucktails. Like these are just a couple clippings I had off an old yellow bucktail that I don't like. You know, the bucktail's long and used up, but I got those clippings that I can use for these kinds of flies for, you know, a long time. And I've used up quite a few. I don't know, I have a couple used up ones just on my desk, but little, you know, snippets of different old bucktails. But the helpful thing is if you have a really cool color and you're almost out of it, you can just save a little bit, and it will, you know, you can use it on flies like this where you're just blending bucktail, but it makes, you know, that color last a lot longer, and it makes a really cool looking fly when you blend them. It almost looks like synthetics, you know. So I've just kind of mixed those guys around, kind of just mixed them just a hair. And from there, stacker. And I'll put those in butt and first. What Gisal? What? That's not my name. That's Gisal. Yeah, no. So I've just gone ahead and stacked these. No, I don't know. That's not my name. I don't know where you got that from. Yeah, so I'm gonna reverse tie that in. And from there, I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna grab some more white. Okay. I don't really know it. Okay. Whatever. So we are going to grab a little bit of white. This might be a little too much white. I really don't like to put a lot of hair on the bottom of my flies because I don't like heal them with lead or anything. And that was a lot on that. Whatever, that'll be fine. I don't really keel them with like lead or anything, so I really do all my keeling with the material, material layouts and stuff. So it is very important. I'm careful with where I place material. Alrighty, now get just a little bit of Zap-A-Gap. I've lost my bodkin recently, so I've got to. No, you're all fine. You're all fine. I just don't know where you. I don't know. That's not my name, so. There we go. And we'll just give that a quick glue. And then. Oh, you were talking to that other. Oh my god, I was so confused. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought you were talking to me and you thought that my name was some random name and I was so confused. Okay, yeah, you're talking about whatever that is. Okay, yeah, I can't say that name either, so. Yeah, you're all good. You're all good. Okay, I'll do probably one more, so I'll revert, or I'll reverse tie this in. Oh, have you, Hayden? No, you're all good, Clouser. Have you? Well, what do you like to tie, Hayden? Just kind of folding this over. And when I'm hollow tying, I'm not going directly over the bucktail because that will kind of tamp down. How's it going, Josh? That'll kind of tamp down the bucktail, won't make it look quite as good. So if you go kind of behind it and you kind of slowly add, your thread, you slowly kind of lay that way. It'll kind of slowly, just bring that hair backwards. There we go. And I'll do one more layer probably. I'll add a little flash this time. So usually for these, I've really been growing fond of using trout bass and bluegill patterns. Also dragonflies. Yeah, dragonflies are super fun. I tie I don't have any like dragonflies, but tying them like this. Thank you so much, Clouser. But tying them like this with an extended body is super fun. This is like a hex pattern, but you can tie dragonflies. I have a video on that. It's actually one of my most viewed videos, I think. But yeah, super fun to tie and pretty effective too. Oh, sure. You mean yeah, dragonfly larva. Yes, those also work very good as well. I don't use them a ton because I don't really fish a ton of like bass ponds that have those, and I never felt the need to. But they are. I don't know. I've caught a few fish on them. I don't fish them like constantly, but they're definitely fun. So now I'll just add my flash, kind of rack back on that, and I'll do part of it on top, and then I'll kind of fold this over and go the rest on the bottom. Do you guys have trout in Florida? I guess I've never really. I know you guys have good bass and saltwater. I wasn't sure if you guys had trout. There's our flash. Oh, sure. Yeah. Like sea bass and stuff. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I have considered selling flies. I don't know. I still have not made a final decision on, you know, if I'm ever going to sell flies. For right now, no. I've been thinking about doing like fly drops where I do like, you know, every month I release just like a certain pattern. So I'd release like just this big, you know, brown trout, muskie, bass, pike fly, or just this, you know, trout, bass, pike fly. But yeah, right now I just do it for my enjoyment. I have probably, I couldn't estimate how many flies I have tied. It's probably kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I've tied a lot of flies in my day. I love tying. I've never sold a fly. I've sold flies to buddies. I usually give them to buddies unless they like, I don't know, unless they want like a crazy amount, then I usually charge a couple bucks. But I literally will usually, you know, they ask for like 2 dozen flies, I'll charge them like 10 bucks. But usually I just give flies to people. I don't really care about that very much. What am I doing? I'm not tying a single colored musky fly here. We're blending bucktail. So we're going to go in with just a little bit of orange. We're not going to go in with as much orange as normal. And now we'll go in with some yellow. Thank you, Clouser. Thank you. I love this hobby. Oh, do they? Yeah, I bet. Saltwater fishing is kind of scary. I've never, Oh, how's it going, Liam? You're looking for dubbing brush? What kind of dubbing brush? Are we talking like brushes? So are we talking like this kind of brush, or are we talking like the material dubbing brush? Hooked on flies, dude. I was gonna go to your live stream. I saw just before I ended the chat. You said, are you talking dubbing brushes or like dubbing brushes the material? Are you hating your tying flies right now? Hooked on flies. I was gonna go to your live stream, and then just as I got there on Friday, you had ended it like not that long before. I went on at like 7 o'clock, and you had ended it, or I can't remember what time it is. I think it was 7, so that was a shame. Yeah. So for dubbing brushes, I haven't made very many dubbing brushes. I've done it by hand, using like hackle pliers, and it's really a pain. Personally, I buy them. If you want to make like dubbing brushes for like, you know, game changers and for like streamer patterns, get your own. They do make like jigs and stuff for them. But But yeah, basically what you do is you got to get specialized material. People do use like dubbing like that, but I think most people prefer nice long fibered, already kind of straightened out packs because it makes it just easier. If you look up videos, I think that's what most people use. I know some people do it with that stuff, but I think it's a pain in the butt. But yeah, you have to get specialized wire. You might be able to use normal wire too, but you get specialized wire, you wrap it in the jig, and then you lay out your material and you spin it up, and a lot of people like straighten it out. Yeah, so yeah, making your own dubbing brushes is really cool because you can customize them. I don't have a lot of experience with it, unfortunately, or else I'd be able to tell you more. I've seen it done. I've done it a couple times just to make like random clousers. But yeah, there are not clousers. Did I say clousers? Game changers, my bad. But yeah, overall, I don't have a ton of information, but definitely look into it. I think there are ways to do it without a jig, but jigs definitely make the process easier. Other than that, you gotta probably get material. I would get your own material. You could just use your own dubbing, but it's not going to look as nearly as good. It's not going to perform nearly as good. Other than that, holy nice, Hayden. 21-inch rainbow trout. That is a very nice rainbow trout, dude. That's a very nice rainbow trout. In Georgia, too. The Blue Ridge Mountain. That's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, rainbows are quite the nice fish. Yeah, so overall, I don't have a ton of information, unfortunately, for you, Liam. But yeah, definitely, I would get your own material. The cool thing with that is, yes, you do have to get material, but you can blend them together, make a ton of cool colors and stuff. Almost like we're doing with, with bucktail. You just, kind of slowly it in place like you do with dubbing. And it makes a really cool, fly if you do it right. So for sure, I've made yeah, definitely go to a fly shop and ask. Don't get your advice from me because I don't know enough. But yeah, what have I made? I made like a purplish, bluish one, and I made like a white with like chartreuse in it, and both of them turned out pretty good. But those took me a long old time to do, and I'm pretty sure I lost the 2 flies that I tied with them. So yeah, but yeah, it's definitely a really cool thing to get into. It's almost like a subgenre of fly tying. It's pretty cool. Sup, Clouser. Alrighty. Got orange and I've got yellow here. Kind of been getting sidetracked. Orange and yellow. I'll grab some chartreuse now. Gosh, dang it. All these chartreuses are just so cooked. I've tied way too many clousers with these, clearly. Filling your own order, I like that. For some mealworm flies, oh yeah. Oh, you guys probably still you guys can fish whenever. You guys are fishing right now. Imagine that. I have to wait, and I've been ice fishing. Gosh, my number one enemy of ice fishing, and I got to do it to fulfill my order of catching fish. But yeah, Liam, are you tying anything right now, or just the same old stuff? Nah, just tuning in. Alrighty. I don't know if you're still on here hooked on flies. Probably not. I did forget to tell you, though, I did look at blue charm. I also saw your video on blue charms. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I got to get some materials, but I will tie that shortly once I get to a fly shop where I can actually, do stuff. What should you tie? Tie up. I don't know what materials you got on hand. What materials you got on hand, Liam? What fun materials we got in the box today? Are you at 50 subs yet? I know that girl from yesterday subbed to you. I know that girl, and I pressured her into it. So that girl from yesterday did sub. Yeah. Oh, there you are, hooked on flies. Yeah, they're so cool. I need to get some materials, but for sure, I don't really have great hooks for it right now. So yeah. Shoot. There we go. Tightening up on this. You got deer hair, elk hair, peacock curl, and so much. I can make it closer though. Deer hair, elk, peacock curl. Tie up. Do you know how to make a royal? Have you ever tied a stimulator? Do you have any hackle? If you have any hackle at all, tie a royal stimulator. They're so fun. Do I have any? I probably have some somewhere. Ugh. You do have hackle? Tie up. If I were you. Thank you, show flies. Thank you. Do I have any? I do have some really old. Oh god, these are old. These are horrible. I probably tied these like 3 years ago. But yeah, tie like a. God dang, these are like with like my grizzly. I used to tie with like only like woolly bugger hackle. Anyway, tie some stimulators like that have hackle. You can use red if you have any red thread, and yeah. So tie one of those up. Those are fun to tie, and they work well. Yeah, thank you very much, show flies. Alrighty. Oh shoot, I never looked at yeah, I need to do that as well. Okay. Now we're gonna tie in the bottom part. Once again, we're going in with some white. Have you ever fished with any type of stimulator, Liam? Those things are goated, bro. Those things are goated. Oh goodness, we're having some trouble with our deer hair. Problem with deer hair, that's for sure. Have I ever been to Florida? Dude, I live in the north Midwest. Every single person has been to Florida here except for me. No, I've never been to Florida. At the end of the year, very cool. Have you had any dry fly action though? Dry flies are so cool, dude. If you've never had dry fly action, you got to get on that this summer. Oh shoot, dry flies are fun. Well, you got to get into that. Those are really fun. Dry flies are awesome. Especially where you live, you can get in some winter fly fishing too. At least around me, it's gonna be really warm this weekend. Maybe I'll go out fly fishing. I'll give you a report back if I do. Okay. Now I'm just gonna give it a little bit of zappy gap. Really, I didn't see that video. That is very cool though. You're good at casting. That's one thing that I've never had confidence in. I would not say I'm a bad caster. I think I'm a decent caster, but compared to the other skill sets I have, I would say casting is probably one of my worst things fly fishing. That I do. I'm pretty good at pretty good at, like, you know, the other technical stuff, but casting is fly casting is an interesting thing. Like a normal cast, pretty simple, pretty fun, but like when you look at like the spay guys, oh my freaking god, dude, those guys are crazy. I've always wanted to learn how to do that. I don't know, Liam, when my next live stream will be. Probably tomorrow or Friday, maybe. We will see. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, see you later, Mr. Liam. But yeah, probably either tomorrow or Friday. Alrighty, see ya. Right now it's so dry in Florida that all the best bluegill are push-up shallow. Oh yeah, that's kind of crazy that you guys still are able to catch fish and it's literally winter for us. That's crazy. That's really cool though. Yeah, the bluegill are pushed up. Yeah, I know that. Like everybody tells me that hooked on flies. Like everybody tells me, oh, it's just roll cast, but you know, slightly advanced. I still can't. Like they like go like this, and then they wait like 10 seconds, and then they go, oh, it's so cool. But it's like I don't know if I could ever do that, dude. It's crazy. You said you spayed fish. You spay fish, right? Hooked on flies. We're pretty much done. Well, we just gotta build up a nice little head on this guy. By the way, I am using 140 denier ultra thread, but this, for some reason, this particular spool is like really weak. I don't know why. Okay, sure. That's pretty cool. I don't have a spay rod. The closest thing I have is like a 10-foot. I have a 10-foot 2-piece, or not 10-foot 2-piece. A 10-foot 2-handled, you know, like a 2-handed 8-weight for streamer fishing. Alrighty, show flies. I'll see you later. There we go. We're getting there. I especially like to do a good hollow tie at the front of the fly. You really want to have a nice fun little big head on there. We're not tying like a bulkhead or anything crazy, but just having a nice little bulkiness will help this fly have a better action. If you have it really thin and then it slowly tapers up, it won't make nearly as much action because that you know, that water will come out and then it'll kind of fizzle back in without a ton of action. If you have a big old head like this, it'll push that water out and then it'll suck back in. It'll make a bunch of really fun how's it going, typical fish? It'll make a really fun action that fish are much more likely to strike at, which is pretty fun. But yeah, we'll and I really want to make sure to fold this one down, especially really kind of crease that hair before bringing this away like this. And from there, we are pretty much finishing up this fly. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of push in, make sure everything is seated well. Just like that. We got a nice clear eye. And now I'm gonna continue to hold this in place while I give this some Zap-A-Gap. So actually, I should probably get some Zap-A-Gap first. Again, this stupid nozzle is so annoying. We're almost out though. There we go. Yeah, honestly, that's so real. I've like gone on you know, Ties Flies stream, I've gone on, a lot of fly tire streams and just tied flies. I never really comment on any streams, but I just go on them and I just tie flies and watch somebody else tie flies. It's so fun. So I 100% see you with that one. That's so real. And we're pretty much done with this fly. So I'm gonna give this a quick whip finish. How's it going, squirrely? Just finishing up a pike fly here. This summer, getting ready to use it. We gotta make a nice video of fishing these guys. Alrighty. Cinch that nice and tight. Now I'll go in right away with some Zap-A-Gap, and I usually go on the bottom with Zap-A-Gap. Oh god, I have a horrible little fiber sticking out there. I don't really want to mess up this whip finish though, so I guess I'll leave it. What? I tried when I was little. But I used real glue. Nothing but it. But it for some reason, okay, shut up, gotcha. Huh, I don't know. Where the heck is my... Yeah, I've used a lot of glues, and Zap-A-Gap is probably my favorite. Like, I'm sure you've used a lot of glues, Clouser, but I've used a lot of glues, and Zap-A-Gap is just about my favorite. Super glue works very well. Honestly, it's cheaper, but I use Zap-A-Gap because I'm a sellout, I guess. But yeah, it tends to work very well, especially for musky flies. I pretty much never use it for like dry flies and stuff, obviously, but for musky pike, big brown trout flies, bass flies, things like that, especially with hair. When you're dealing with hair, there's nothing really better than using some good Zap-A-Gap. Really kind of fills in those crevices. It really holds hair in place really well. I think glue definitely helps, but like you definitely need glue. Like, even if you do the best whip finishes, like, like you think, oh, my fly just sucks because, it didn't work. But you can have the best thread tension, the best whip finish, and sometimes you'll just get a thread wrap in the wrong spot, and that fish will just bite it in the wrong spot, especially with toothy fish, that they'll just rip that fly to shreds, even if you got the best whip finish ever. So I think having good glue definitely helps with that. And I think we're pretty much done with this whole fly. This bottom part I hate. It looks horrible, but we're gonna live with it. It's not that bad. Let's get some UV resin on this guy. Actually, no, we're not gonna do a UV on this one. We're gonna do straight. Zap-A-Gap instead. That'll be more fun. I'll just kind of coat that whole head. Oh shoot, getting some Zap-A-Gap on my fingers. We're gonna coat just that whole head in Zap-A-Gap, and you can definitely also use UV resin. I'll use UV resin quite a bit. I have not decided when I'm gonna end the stream. I might end this pretty quick here. I don't know. I might tie another fly. I might be done after this. We'll see how viewership plays out, I guess. It's all about the views and the likes, right? That's all life is about. Just kidding, of course. I'd be tying anyway, so it's just fun to stream my stuff. Maybe get a subscriber or something, somebody who enjoys tying flies or enjoys watching people tie flies. But yeah, fun little fly right there. And this thing will be super durable as well. It's made with a crap ton of Zap-A-Gap. There won't be no pike biting this thing off, at least for a while. There we have it. I don't know. I might do, should I do another fly? I'll do something fun. I'll do a fun fly. I'll do a, what should I do? What should I do? I should do something fun. Let's do, okay. Let's do a Parachute Adams. Let's do a Parachute Adams. Sure. Why not? I'm going to do a nice big, I'm going to do an attractor para Adams. Very underrated style fly. We've got brown hackle and we've got grizzly hackle here. I'll set those aside for just a moment. In the meantime, we've got a size 8 in the vise. Very, very large. Very, very large hook. This is going to be more of a, you know what? Nah, we won't go size 8. That's a little, I like a good attractor pattern, but I'm actually going to go with more of a, well, yeah, let's go with a size 8. That'll be fun. That'll be something different. I'll show you guys how I tie an attractor pair of Adams, which is basically, this mimics big ol', you know, drakes and things of that nature. But it also just is a really fun attractor pattern. It can mimic a grasshopper. It can mimic a ton of stuff. And it's way easier for me to show you guys. So, I'm doing some olive thread. This is olive thread. This is gonna be what, 10-aught. And I don't know where my threader is, so I guess we're just gonna have to do this with the good old stick it into the, you know, start it in the bobbin and then suck in, I guess. That might be the only, I don't really have my threader, unfortunately. But yeah, great little attractor pattern. And also just fun to tie compared to a little tiny, like a size 20. Not gonna lie, hooked on flies, 100%. These are worth, yeah, I think, I can't remember what I paid for it. It was probably 60 bucks though. This isn't the really fancy one. The really fancy one is like the thing between. This thing is so fun though. Like, this is such a good bobbin. I've had it for years. It's worked great. I haven't, you know, been mad about, I've never had my thread snap, really, or at least not because of the bobbin. Like, obviously I've had like thread snap maybe when I'm tying with like deer hair and stuff. You have thread snaps once in a while. It's not a big deal. It happens to everybody. But I've never had it be like because this cut the thread in the bobbin, you know, nothing like that. So it's a really good bobbin. And like compared to this is a great streamer bobbin. This one by Umpqua, great streamer bobbin, but it's not good for that smaller stuff. This really bridges the gap for me. And they do make an even smaller one. I think it's called like the Midge or something. But yeah, very good bobbin. So let's tie in some hackle fibers. Traditionally, you'd use brown and grizzly hackle. Just to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm going to use some yellow here. Make this almost like a hex style dry fly. So we're going to go in with some yellow right along that back. How's it going, traveler flies? How are we doing today? Gotta tighten on my vise. This Renzetti really loosens up sometimes, not gonna lie. So we've got the tail in there, and then I usually tie in my my parachute second. I usually do my tail first, then parachute. Most people do their parachutes first. I honestly don't really know why. I think maybe it's like traditionally from the old timey, you know, hair wings and stuff. But for, or you're not hair wings. You know, like old time, you know, when you use calf hair or deer hair to make your wings. But for me, I personally use, I personally do my tail first. How's it going, Bambi? And I'll go ahead and tie that in. Fair bit of thread tension. Actually, I don't love where that placement is. I should take that just a little bit more in front. I don't really measure anything on these guys. I tend to do it with my heart. With most things, I measure against the shank in some way, but with my placement of parachute flies, really, I don't tend to do much low key. I just kind of place it where it feels right. Is that bad? Maybe, but I think it works fine. So it worked out for me so far. And I'll just go up this parachute just a little bit. We'll work our way up more later when we're actually attaching that hackle. But for now, I'll just do that. Give it a few more reps at the base, really, just to secure that down so we don't have any spinning when we actually finish up this fly. But now, I'm gonna just cut this off at a, general kind of level for now until we... How's it going? And let's do a fun dubbing. I've got some super fine in pale morning dub. It's more of a sulfury color, honestly, but PMD color. And we'll make, you don't need a super thin dubbing noodle for these big attractor parachute flies. Excuse me, actually, hooked in flies. I'm not tying a very traditional parachute Adams like you requested, but basically you just use brown and grizzly for the tail, and you use a slightly smaller hook traditionally, although that's, kind of whatever. This is more of an attractor fly than a actual imitation, and then you use gray dubbing instead of sulfur dubbing. I'm sure you know that, though. Yeah, I'll make a nice, not too thin. We're not just trying to coat the thread, we actually want to build a little body with this fly, especially in the size of hook. But yeah, we'll make a nice dubbing noodle. This isn't a thick dubbing noodle by any means, but it's also not an insanely thin one. And I'll just work that forward. We're gonna have to reapply probably. I don't love how that turned out. There we go. And actually, I'll just unwind that really quick. That's actually really cool. Yeah, tying bluegill imitations is so fun. I've tied, I don't know, I have a video on my YouTube channel that was like, it was my design for a bluegill, like a fly that pretty much strictly imitated like either bluegill or rainbow trout. They kind of just had that look. I don't think I have any anymore. Probably fished them all, but no, it doesn't look like I have any. But yeah, I've designed several flies that look just like yeah, exactly right, Bambi. But yeah, making bluegill imitations is so fun. You can really dial them in, make them look really cool. I tend to like do it like almost like a hair wing style, where I put like a tail out, then I do like some sort of wrap of like flash of some sort, usually like a reddish color, and then I do like some sort of like olive deer tail over the top. It looks pretty cool, I think. On to the other side. I assume you guys probably can't see that very good, can you? And I'll do my second dubbing noodle, and usually for this side I do it just slightly thicker than my first side. That just helps me more easily get a good head on this fly that looks, good. That'll probably be about good for this fly. Yeah. So I'll do one more wrap on that side, onto this side. And I'll go pretty lightly on the way forward, and then from there I'll go with my final wrap on the back side. Going with a little bit more dubbing. And from there, can you see this very well? This is not looking very good. Okay. And also this wing looks horrible right now. We'll clean it up, obviously. Yeah, I'll do a nice dubbing noodle backwards now. I'll cover this eye just a little bit more. This looks kind of dopey right now. End of a wood duck feather. I like that. I'm gonna try that if you don't mind. I won't post it in a video, but I'm gonna try that. That's a really good idea. Ducktail feather. That's a pretty good idea. That would mimic a tail pretty freaking good. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you can make a really cool, like, not so much a hair wing fly, but like a fully fleshed out. Oh, can I? Yeah, I might be experimenting with that. Try that out. Maybe like a nice wood duck, like flank even kind of a look. That'd be pretty freaking cool. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Alrighty, let's get on to tying on our hackle. So we're gonna measure out this fly really quick, see what kind of size we're looking at here. That's not horrible. A little big. That's probably a little too, oh yeah. The trials and tribulations of hackle matching. You can never quite get the hang of it because every hackle is just a little different. And they're always just slightly different when they're, when they're all hackled out. Okay. That looks pretty good to me. Yep, pretty good. So now, traditionally, I'll take off more on this side than I do on this side, and that'll just allow for it to, when I'm laying it like that. But because I do my hackles upside down on these flies, I'll actually take off more from this side, a little less on this side, and that'll help it lay a lot better on that. Which, when you're making parachute flies, usually all the help you can get is pretty nice. So, we've got a nice base on there, as you can see, of thread. And I'll tie in my first. Actually, I'm gonna do my grizzly. Normally, I tie my grizzly first on these flies. Kind of depends on what my mood is like, but usually I do grizzly first, and that looks pretty good. Dang, we're at 39 likes. We're almost to 40 likes. That's pretty good. Gotta get one more like. We'll be there. We'll be probably setting a record. See, I'm definitely not getting the most views. Oh, thank you for the 40th like. Definitely not getting the most views of all mine, but I think this is the most like to view ratio. Shows that all you guys are the real ones. So now I'm going to go ahead and tie in both of my hackles. And I did that one backwards, of course. It's a habit for me. Stripping away that side of the hackle. There we go. I'll do my brown hackle next. Tying that in. And from there, I'll just come up, tie that, come back down, and I'll make sure to really wrap around that base to get a good base so that I can start hackling my hackles. I'll give you guys a nice little view of that. I might have to tip it back. Ooh. No, you're all good. You're all good, Bambi. You're all good, Clouser. No big deal. Yeah, that's a really cool idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that blue tint especially. So that sounds really freaking cool, actually. And the more that I think about making a fly that looks like that. Personally, for bass in the spring, can't go wrong with a Clouser minnow, in my opinion. Not my best hackle job, but it will do just fine, I suppose. There we go. And now I'm just going to kind of wrap around this base just a hair. There we go. And for there, really the trick is here just to try not to trap too many fibers. One of the hardest things to do on a parachute fly, that's for sure, especially when you got it full hackled like I do. Not a nice little sparse hackle job, but a full on hackle job can be a little hard. I tend to kind of go down on the sides to really make sure not like this, to make sure I'm not trapping any fibers. And sometimes I still do, so not that that really matters. And there we have it. I don't know if you can see that pretty good, but that's a decent little parachute fly. I tend not to put too much stuff. Sometimes I'll put a little glue on it or something, but usually I just leave them. And there we have it, guys. I've got a nice parachute fly. I'll just trim up this wing a little bit. And there we have it. Thank you guys for the guys who are still watching. Thank you guys for watching. I think I'm going to be leaving off the stream, but please do consider subscribing by clicking my icon. They make it so hard for you to subscribe. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, you can just click on my icon, and I believe that should let you subscribe. I'm not sure if you can. Maybe there is a subscribe button, but I don't know of one. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.